Sabah everybody and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to do a car tour in 8K using the brand new OnePlus 9 and OnePlus 9 Pro of the long-range Model 3 Tesla with, of course, full self-driving functions. I've been wanting to do this video for a long time, and of course I wanted to demonstrate the 8K functionalities that we have on the brand new OnePlus 9 and OnePlus 9 Pro. One little thing you'll notice is I'm holding a phone in my hand, and that's because we're using the audio from the OnePlus 9 and then recording with the OnePlus 9 Pro just to get the really good personal audio, and then the rest of the video will have the audio coming in from both devices. But let's not waste any time. Let's allow the car to say hi, and let's start the video. This is TK and this is my Model 3, and these are the OnePlus 9 and OnePlus 9 Pro. So this is the Model 3 Long Range 2021. I chose to go with the black on black. As you can see, the interior color is black. And of course, I went with the 18-inch aero wheels. Those are the new version 2 ones that are basically covering some nice hubcap, well, some nice rims. But I decided to go with this option. We also have the new lights. Those are the new lights that came in, again, late 2020, early 2021, originally only available on the Chinese model. And of course, we have the black cover. We have the fog lights at the bottom. Don't have it yet tinted. Hopefully in the near future I will do that. But as far as the actual aesthetics, overall it's black everything. As you can see, there's no more chrome. They removed the chroming on the back. And of course, once the car goes into sleep mode, the mirrors do fold in on their own. The top is entirely made out of glass, and as you can see right here, I have one of my nice little option here. I added this clip on top of the display so that I'm actually able to add my phone holder sitting right there. All of the stuff at this point is pretty much standard, as you could remember. Basically, most of the 2020 models look very similar. 2021 looks exactly similar on the outside. I will say though that once we get in, you'll notice again the chrome delete is in here. That we do have the new Model 3 name now that's present in there. And you can see right there, I already kind of changed the LED lights for me, and I put in some all-weather mats. Now, as you know, you can control a lot of the functions of the car using the app itself, and that one of them would be, obviously, is the ability of opening the front trunk or the frunk by just pressing that button and confirming it. And then pretty much it has its own suspension, so it stays open. As you can see right there, it's not necessarily the biggest, and from what I've heard, it's a little bit smaller because of the heat pump that we now have in the 2021 model. But there's still the button here that's present that you're able to use for in case of emergency, in case anybody does get stuck in there. And of course, adding water to the windshield wiper fluid there would be added at the top. Other than that, it's pretty simple. To close it though, I do recommend, or at least they do recommend, bringing in the actual cover, one on the right, one on the left, so that you can actually not indent it on this angle. So I'm going to actually stop the video to do that with both my hands. We have the cameras that are present up there, again in the front. Those are going to be your side sensors, and then turning it over to the back. Again, very similar to what we've seen before with 2021 and 2020 models. Now, the trunk here is a little different as well. We actually have a power trunk that's built in, and this is actually, again, included with the long range model. All you have to do, there's a little button right under the T. You push the button, and the trunk opens up by itself. You're able to do this obviously with the app as well. Trunk size, for the most part, stayed the same. There's not much difference in here. They give you the additional plate for the front if you want to cover it, or actually mount it. They also include the kit, which has the home charger with the, I guess in the US it'll be the 110 wall charger. You're able to buy an additional one. I did change the LEDs there as well. You'll notice that they're the blue LEDs. I'll include the link to that for you guys in the description below. Now at the top, we have a button that just, again, you push that button, closes the actual trunk itself. Very nice, and not having to worry about having to mod this part because, again, it is stock now. I'm pretty sure you guys are interested in seeing how does the summon feature work on the car. So right now it shows us my location. I'm going to go ahead and hit the summon. There's two options here. There's the smart summon, which uses geolocation, and then there's the forward and reverse. Now these two options are helpful in a couple of situations. You can use them to actually allow the car to go forward and backwards if you're trying to park it in a very tight spot, or if, let's say, you're parked on the side on the street and you need to move your car because you've been there more than the allowed time, you want to move it up the stall. That's definitely going to be working very nicely. The one thing I'll mention is I currently have it configured so that I actually have to push and hold the button for the thing to work. So as you can see right there, the lights blink on the car, and it's actually going to start moving forward till I release the button. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So I'm actually allowing the car to keep moving, so it's working on its own. As long as I keep pushing the button, the car will keep going forward. Now, obviously, I'm going from one spot to the other. That was kind of like the similar example that I was trying to explain. And then, of course, when you're done, you just release the button. And the moment you release the button, the car goes back. Now, if I, let's say, want to go back, I'll give it a second for it to reset. It says summon is done. I'll go ahead and hit the reverse button. Now, this is exactly the same thing. Turns on, and it turns on that little sound that it does when it's reversing. So that sound only comes up there. The lights stay on, and as you can see, the lights look really, really nice. The new headlights, of course, with the new fog lights, and it just backs up the exact same way. The only difference, though, is now it turns on the bumper, or at least the back sensor. So we'll go ahead and give it a second, and it kind of stops there because it sees the bumper, it sees a car behind it. So it assumed there was something there. I'll go ahead and turn it on one more time. And you can see that the car will back up a little bit more. It is not going to go back all the way to the back of the spot. It'll stop exactly where right there. And what I mean by this is you can see that the car stopped. I'm still holding the button, and I can just release it and it'll stop. And the car goes back to the same spot that it started from. Really, really cool. Now, when you are at the supercharging stations, you do need to back the car up, and you do need to go over that little bump that you see back there. And the main reason behind that is the cables on the superchargers are not long enough. So once you get a little bit over it, you go ahead and stop, hit the parking, and of course the car is ready and we can go ahead and start charging. Now, everybody knows to get out of a Tesla, you just need to push the button that's present here on the left, and that opens up and unlocks the door. So push that, opens the door, and then closing it, everything goes back to normal. What most people don't know is that there's an emergency latch that's present right there. If you just hold it, it does the exact same situation, and that allows you to open up the door. Although when you do that, the car will indicate that you used the emergency latch. So just be aware that there is an extra latch here in case the button doesn't work, so you're never stuck. Now, here we are at the supercharging station. I am using the 250 watt option. There are a whole bunch of options over there that are 150. So if you have the car that does support it, you're able to do it. All you have to do is take the handle. It is free-forming. You take it up, and when you get it close to the car, there is a little button right there. If I push the button, the car recognizes it, opens it up, push it in, and then give it a second. You'll notice that the blue light will start flickering, and then right after that goes to green, and that's how you know the car is charging. So we are here back in the car, and of course now we're doing some supercharging. Quick fact, if you want to be able to get 1,000 free supercharging miles when you order your new Tesla, there'll be a link in the description below, which gives you 1,000 and gives me 1,000 miles, which helps out both of us on this. But overall, what you're noticing here essentially is the current session is 0 right now because it hasn't built up currently. I have the battery capacity here, and you can see here I have it set to 90% so that it's not 100. And it also gives us the ability of seeing exactly how long it's going to take me to charge it to that level. So we have 25 minutes left. Current charge is 48 amps. And of course, you can see here 50 kilowatts, 226 miles, and you could see how crazy it is. That's the power of the supercharging. Again, you can do the 250 or the 150. Obviously, the 150 will be a little bit slower, but for long trips, if you have access to a supercharger like this, this is going to be great. And it kind of gives you an estimation of how many additional miles it adds right there. Now, wireless charging is built into the car, which is definitely very nice, so no more having to switch them around. Now, the bottom compartments also have changed. They're no longer a flip out and very fingerprint prone. It's very easy. You just push it. There's a little bit of resistance when you're opening it, and it stays in the open position. Now, in the back, when I showed you guys the trunk, I showed you guys that there was actually the home charging kit, but they also include the adapter to be able to use non-Tesla EV stations. So this one is compatible with the Tesla car, and of course this one will be able to use at other stations. And of course the speeds are going to be dependent on how fast they're able to provide you. But I feel like this adapter should always be in the front, because whenever you're charging your car, you just want to be able to take it and walk away with it. Now, this compartment or this organizer that you see here is not part of the car. You do have to pick that up now. They no longer include that. So once you remove it, you can see we have a nice big open spot here that you can actually fit like controllers, additional cables, and so on. This one actually is going to be the bigger of the two spots that we have. But you're able to pick up these organizers straight directly from either Amazon or directly from Tesla, and they work very nice. When to close it, just push the button, it comes back, very nice. And of course, much nicer material. Cup holders are still pretty much in the same spot. You get the two, and of course a little bit of trash there. Now when it comes down to the armrests, they're pretty much configured the same way. We have two. There's one in the back here that's going to be for the people sitting in the back, so if you don't want 3 people sitting there, you can bring that one down. This one's pretty standard. You just have a latch, you open it up. Again, the little organizer tray, I had to pick those up directly from Tesla. Otherwise, you have the same configuration that we've had in the past. You have one lighter, cigarette light adapter that's present right there that you're able to use. I'm running that for the adapter. And of course, once it's configured or closed, it looks really nice. Switching it over to the OnePlus 9, and the main thing that we want to talk about obviously is the air conditioning system. So there's a couple of things you need to know. First thing is that the air conditioning system can be controlled by 2 different people. So let's go ahead and see here. As you noticed, if I touch the temperature itself, it automatically kicks it in. If I press and hold the fan, that's a little bit of again another tip, does turn off the actual aircon system. On the other end, you also have the ability of actually tapping it one more time once it's on, so that basically we can actually control the system. So I'll go ahead and hit sync. Now it's actually synced up and actually configure the temperature the way I want it, and I can pause it. All of this without actually having to go into the menu. So if I want to go into the menu, tap it once, you can see the different configuration, the right, the left, as well as the back. So you need to turn that on. You have to press that button in the back there. And then of course, well, let's go ahead and reduce the speed here. Otherwise we're going to hear the fans blowing off. You can configure the position of the fans by either splitting them, putting them back in together, by pressing and holding it, and of course you can turn it on. You have the ability of also going into the heat section, which is very nice as part of the new Model 3 long range. And again, part of the refresh, the end of first Q1 in 2021, the heated steering wheel is actually very nice. It's actually added into the UI element and you're able to customize it. You're also able to turn on the heated seats, again, for all of the different people. And then, of course, reduce them by levels on each one. So to turn them off, you actually have to reduce them down to 0 for them to actually go back. Sorry, kind of make sure to get it correctly. All off also will work the same situation for you. So all of that kind of works out pretty good. Now, if we go into the car, we're able to jump into autopilot. This is going to be part of the built-in options that you're able to get, but you're also able to extend some of those by going into summon, full self-driving virtualization preview. Those are some of the things available only if you add the full self-driving option to the car. It is not standard. Autopilot is, but full self-driving is not. You can customize summon, standby mode, of course. You have the ability of customizing the speed limit, the offset, the speed limit warning, speed limit here as far as the offset as well. Forward collision warning if you want, medium, late or early. And of course, lane departure avoidance. Those are some of the options that you can do as well. Navigation is pretty straightforward. You can turn on automatic navigation, trip planner beta. Now we're able to turn on the online routing here. This option will allow you to actually get reroute options if it saves you more than a specific amount of time. So you can do those, avoiding basically tolls and HOV lanes if you want to be able to do that. And of course, if this is also the place where you're able to turn off the assistant in the driving mode. So if you start to navigate in your car and you notice that she's giving you all of the turn by turn notifications and you want to disable them, you can just get in here and then disable the sound, or you can actually reduce it so you don't actually have to technically turn it off. Went ahead and switched over again to the OnePlus 9 Pro. Now if we go into the camera situation, so here we'll jump into the camera option, automatically shows us the reverse camera. If I go up a little bit, it shows me the side camera. So you can see there's a car to my left and there's no car on the right side. Typically, whenever you're charging, it is always recommended to sit in on a stall that is away from another car, mostly because you don't want to share the charger or the connection to the charger with another car. It does slow it down, even if it is a fast, supercharging station. So a little bit of a hint. And then when you're done, you can just go ahead and close it, and it takes you back here. Now, calendar option can sync up with your calendar on your phone, making calls. Energy consumption, pretty standard. You could kind of see the energy consumption from the last day or so. And of course, if I have a trip, I can actually start it up there. And you can also see the instant range and the average range. Charging, pretty standard. This is the screen that we're looking at. Again, we're still at the same supercharging. We are up to 212 miles and about 25 minutes left. And the current session has cost about $2.60 for the charging that we've already done. Keep in mind, charging rates are different depending on the charger that you're using. The fastest will always cost a little bit more, and of course, non-Tesla chargers will always advertise how much they charge you. And we can't forget that we also have a built-in web browser. Now, this will be connected via the internet that is connected here. You can kind of see it. It says LTE. It is connected via AT&T here in the US, and you're of course able to access it and do all of the options that you want. Some of the other shortcuts that you can do here is the ability of actually touching the time, and that takes you directly into calendar mode if you have it synced up with your phone. And if you do get a text message and you have it synced up to the car, you have the ability of pressing that little button on the right side of the steering wheel, and it will read your notification straight for you. Now, one little option here, you'll notice there's 3 dots that's present on the bottom left. That gives you access to see exactly some quick settings. So camera, power, and microphone for the assistant. And of course, if I swipe to the left, it just shows me basically since my last charge. I can swipe one more time to the right, and it should be able to see the PSI for the car, but once the car is charging, it actually disables this function. Some of the options that you'll also notice here is that the front and the trunk controls are all present here, as well as the charger. Now, I cannot close the charger. You'll notice it's grayed out, and that's mostly because I am charging. If I was not charging and the door is open, I can close it from there, and pretty simple. And all of these options will give you access to control the screen. So if I want to jump into the cameras, I can jump in there, the charging, and of course, charging stations. It automatically recognizes that and it tries to navigate to the nearest charging station, but in this situation we're technically at one, but you can see here it shows you all the local stations that are available, how far they are from you. And one little tip, if you are going to charge up your car, my recommendation is to navigate to it even if you know where it is, because what it does is the car knows that you're going to charge it and it primes the battery to get it ready to be ready for charging. So it reduces the amount of time before the battery or the charging speed goes up to full speed when you're at the charger. Always a nice little tip there to help you guys out. Now, the cameras are recording all the time whenever you're driving. So you'll notice there's a little bit of a red dot right there present next to the camera, and that's because we are recording. If I touch it, it's going to give me a couple of options. We can turn on dash cam, view footage, and launcher. Now, save footage will save it directly into the thumb drive. It's already in there, but it doesn't save. It keeps writing over itself. If I click on it and hit the launch viewer, this takes me into the recent options or the recent recordings that we've had on the car. You'll notice there's actually a left and a right, and I'm able to actually go back in time into a different time where I was able to drive the car. So you'll notice right there, this is me moving. So you have the rear camera that's present at the top, the right camera, the left camera, and if you have the dash cam turned on, it obviously will work. So again, really nice, very easy, and always shows you the it always shows you the information. So if you ever get into an accident, you're able to actually save the footage right away to the thumb drive. And of course, you're able to activate it in whichever way you want. Dash cam for me is not turned on right now, and that's why you don't see a camera there, but if it was, you'll be able to see it there. One of the other really nice things that we have within the Tesla ecosystem is the ability of setting up profiles. So you'll notice right now it says easy entry, but that's not the standard profile. So I have a profile set for myself, I have a profile set for my wife, and of course there's valet mode. And you can customize the side mirrors as well as the steering wheel and the chair for this configuration. Now obviously this one is not configurable, so the reverse mirror is not, but everything else, to just get that comfort level really nice, you could just go ahead and click your profile, and of course, as you notice right there, it adjusts everything, and you're able to change profile based on whenever you get into the car. So no more having to adjust your seat every time you get in. As you know, this is a car that receives software updates. So one of the things you're able to do obviously is go into the software tab, and you're able to access and see what version of the software and if there is a software that needs to be installed. And if there is a software update that was released, you'll be able to see the change log in there. You can see exactly what was updated: Sentry mode improvements, autopilot set speed, Spotify improvements, media search improvement, media sources, voice command languages. All of those are within the last update that we received. The other thing you're also able to see is essentially the main. Into this tab, you'll be able to see the audio system type, the autopilot computer if you have the full self-driving or not, the IMEI for the cell service on this car, the garage door opener if you have one installed. Basically, you do need to buy that. That's an additional $300 fee. It does explain to you that it is running an Intel Atom processor here for the infotainment processor. Motor type is induction. Motor type rear is basically permanent magnet, since we have an all-wheel drive dual motor, and of course the Wi-Fi MAC address in case you need to add that to your Wi-Fi router. The service tab is pretty much self-explanatory. Basically, you can go in there, owner's manual, adjust the headlights, towing if you want to start it, to explain to you how to do it. Wheel configuration, if you change the tires, if you, let's say again, you remove either the hubcaps, you change your tires or whichever, you have to go in there and customize and explain what you did. Of course, notifications, camera calibration if you want to be able to do that as well. And if you need to reset it, since this is again a computer, you can factory reset the car through here. Now the visor here is a little bit different as well. One of the other options they changed here is these are now magnetic. So I can actually just basically pull on it, put it back, and it's magnetically connected. These pretty much are the same. You bring it down and then fold it back again magnetic, and they do stay where they are. Obviously, as you guys see, the OnePlus 9 Pro, and when you're done, just open it, close it, and it works the same exact way for the other one. Now, since I don't have the keyless entry module installed on the car, I'm using my normal, obviously, garage door opener, which works just fine. But again, if you want a little bit more convenience, it's available as an option. And that's pretty much it. The car is almost done, 314 miles. There's 1 minute left to go. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect it. Now, to do that, it's pretty simple. You just push the button here, the lights turn on, and then you disconnect it. Now, put it back on the charger, hooks up by itself, and then you don't actually have to worry about it. It closes itself. So one thing to keep in mind when driving the Tesla is that it has a regenerative braking that's already built in here. So one thing you'll notice, of course, is that once you take the pedal or your gas, the foot off the gas pedal, the car automatically starts to slow down. And in theory, if you get to a good place where you're able to basically get used to how the regenerative braking works, you almost never have to touch the brake pedal at all. So in this situation, I'm not even slowing down by touching it. I'm just removing my foot off the gas pedal. And of course, and I keep saying gas, although I know it's not a gas pedal, but again, it's very nice, very simple. Now I am rolling right now, and you'll notice, we are driving normally 37, 36. And if I just give it a little bit of a boost, you'll notice right there, we just jumped about 20 miles an hour speed. It's very, very fast and very satisfying every time we do that. So now we're jumping into the car. The car has about 5 minutes remaining before it's done supercharging. I did get the 10-minute warning as I was walking away from the car, where it told me I have 10 minutes left before the car is done. Now, this is going to be charging to the level that we talked about before. If I click it, you can see where the marker is. It tells you the rate, the charging speed. It does slow down a little bit when it gets closer to the 100% or the level that you have it set. You can see nearby superchargers as well as nearby charging stations, all of that information. You can also actually stop the car from charging. One thing to keep in mind though, if you do keep the car plugged in into a supercharger, meaning you're using the stall and you're not charging, there is an idle fee that Tesla will start charging you. So that's something to keep in mind, so that they make sure that the charging stations are always available for people to be able to use when they need to charge up their cars, and that people are not just using them as parking stalls. Under the car, or actually before we get to that, you'll notice there's a green light next to the charging port and it looks like it's open. That's because we are charging. Under that we have fan control, frunk, that little button right under it that opens up the front trunk, and locking and unlocking the car. The media button just controls whatever media is playing in the car. If you have music playing through your phone to the car, you can just control it directly from your notification, but that also will work through the media control. Phone key, it's pretty simple. I've configured this phone to be a key to the car, or you could just use the key cards that they are provided to you when you get the car. They do provide you with 2 of them, but when you have the phone key, you pretty much don't need them with you all the time. Now after that, we can jump into the climate section. Now in the climate section, we can control the climate control, obviously between air, but we can also turn on the heated seat. So I can turn on the heat seat here, 1, 2, 3, the level of intensity. And of course I can turn on the ones in the back specifically for wherever people are sitting. And again, same level. We can also turn on the steering wheel, which is new, and again at the end of Q1 2021 here in the US. And of course I can turn on the defrost, turn on climate, all of the options that we normally can control from the car. Charging, pretty standard. We looked at that. Again, you click the battery at the top, you get the same configuration. Location, pretty easy. This is where I am right now, the supercharging station. The good thing about this is that as I'm charging, in theory, I can technically even go around, go to these local shops and wait for my car to get charged. You don't have to necessarily sit in the car and use, the internet and try to do videos. If you want to go in and do your shopping, this is going to be the best situation. And for me here in Santa Clarita, we have a really nice grocery store here, so it works very nicely. Now, one of the other options that we have below that is the ability of configuring summon. Now, summon, that was the feature that I wanted to share with you guys. You have a couple of options here. There is a smart summon and there is a regular summon. The smart summon uses GPS, and that's not what we're seeing now because we are charging. But you also have the ability of moving your car forward and reversed by just pressing and holding the button on the car. And then if you jump into the service tab, you're also able to customize and set up appointments at your local stations. Now, upgrades are available based on the model that you have and what options you have available for you. For me, the only options that I have available right now is the acceleration boost. Again, it's a $2,000 charge, and that gets me basically half a second faster on the acceleration. Now, the purchased ones, those are the ones that are built into the car that I already got them. I wanted to get the full self-driving capability, and I wanted to basically make it part of the fee. So I didn't actually end up paying a full charge right away. Otherwise, anytime you buy something from the eligible section, you have to pay the fee as well as the tax. So understand that this is literally almost $2,200, not really too. And that's pretty much it. The app is very easy, very intuitive. There are other options obviously on the market as well to give you even more information. You are able to basically use the little option at the top right there where you're able to get the 1,000 supercharging miles that you're able to share with somebody. So if you guys use my referral link that's available at the bottom, you'll be able to actually get yourself 1,000 supercharging miles, and I'll get 1,000 supercharging miles as well. I'm hoping that you guys enjoyed the video. The main purpose of the video obviously is to give you guys a tour of this brand new tech, full, amazing car from Tesla, obviously. But of course, to show the prowess of 8K recording on the OnePlus 9 and the OnePlus 9 Pro. Now keep in mind, the OnePlus 9 and the OnePlus 9 Pro do have a little bit of differences when it comes down to 8K. Both can record 8K at 30 frames per second. Cannot switch between the wide angle lens and the standard lens when we're recording video the way we can do it in 4K on the OnePlus 9 Pro. You have to start the mode with whatever lens that you want to be able to switch to or use. And as far as the Tesla Model 3, this is obviously the tech. If you're into tech and you love tech in your car, this is always going to be the best option for anybody. Charging is going to be obviously one of the best experiences since they have the best charging stations across the country, but they also can use standard charging stations, which helps out a lot. I'm not aware of other chargers that are able to basically use Tesla chargers. They basically the reverse of what we're able to do, but keep in mind it is definitely very nice. Very simple. It's linked to my account. I just literally plug it in, charge it. And again, if you have free supercharging miles, it'll deduct it out of that balance. If you don't, it just charges you for the time. Gives you exact amount of total of how much you're going to be paying. And coincidentally, as I mentioned, if you guys would like to basically get 1,000 miles for your account, for your order, if you already ordered and you didn't use a referral code, you could definitely put that in there. Call your sales associate, and they'll be able to add that referral for you on the account. And again, 1,000 free supercharging miles will always help when you get a brand new car and you want to drive it all the time. As far as the features and comfort, the seats are super comfortable, very nice. Again, I went with the black on black. Again, one of the personal choices, you're able to obviously customize it. I will say though that anything other than the white on the exterior and black on the interior is not considered to be a standard color, and there will be a fee. Only the red color is a $2,000 fee, and any other color like the blue or the gray and of course the black are all $1,000. And also the car comes with standard 18-inch wheels with the aero covers. Those are the included. And if you change the tires to 19, again, you get there's a fee there. There's always a little bit of options there. The full self-driving is not a requirement. Autopilot is included, but if you do want the full self-driving and you want it part of your monthly payment, you need to do it before included in the when you're ordering your car. If you want to do it later, keep in mind it's the exact same thing. You have to pay the full fee, including tax at that end, when you're adding it to your car. So it's depending on how you want to be able to get it, if you choose to get it. Some of the features are turned on, like autopilot on the freeway. All of those are there. And of course, the boost on this, if you want to be able to pick it up, that's an extra 2,000. But in my opinion, it's already fast. So I hope you guys like this video. I'm really enjoying this car. There'll be a lot more other contents on the mods. I'm sure when you guys were walking around the car, you saw some things that have changed. And I'm working on putting on more mods into the car. I love modifying things and adding things to my car. Like and subscribe as usual. Thank you very much for the support. Check out that link for the referral if you guys would like to check it out. And of course, I'll see you guys in the next one.